Welcome to the Oz Chance podcast by The Local Game. It is great to be here for this brand new podcast ahead of a brand new competition. This podcast is brought to you by Macron Sports Hub Adelaide. Get your gear ready for 2026. And I'm your host, Johnny Kecko, and I'm much excited to bring this brand new show together and bring a brand new team together as well for this show, weekly show, ahead of the Australian Championships. Antonis Pagonis, Simon Jimenez, good to have you both on board. Antonis, it's great to have you here, mate, and how excited are you for this new competition?
Yeah, very excited. For anyone that watches the local game, you know that my role is a very small role, so a bit of a larger role here, but we've been waiting for this competition for a couple of years, Johnny, so I'm very excited to finally have it on the way and to be able to talk about it.
I think, being a new competition, it's a national competition. I thought if we do a national show, you need more minutes, and you can get away with the 27 the quota. Will give you the whole episode. And Simon, mate, big competition, and you know a little bit about some of these big teams coming in and the history behind it all, but a lot of anticipation coming up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's massive. It's really been the first whole year that I've been involved with NPL locally. So to have that extended and to be able to go through, and I guess maybe get to see some of these interstate teams test each other, see who is the mightiest state. That's something that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and each week we will cover local topics across the country, talk about all different teams, and focus on the whole competition as a whole, which I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to the coverage as well. There's some big things coming for this, and it's just great for the next generation of players, coaches, and I think media as well in some sense, because it's creating a lot of new opportunities. But each week we'll cover some of the big topics, some of the big games, talk about results as they come, and we'll try and get some big guests on as well, or hear from some people around the country as it all goes. But the main thing is another platform to talk about this great competition. And why don't we kick it off with the big game? Let's talk about that. Friday night, it's going to be huge. The occasion is set to kick things off with two of the foundation clubs, South Melbourne, Sydney Olympic. What a big matchup that is. I can't wait for that game. Simon, what do you think about this big matchup? It's going to be huge, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a perfect way to kick it off. As you said, the only game that features two foundation clubs during this weekend. You got the two Greek clubs, Hellenic Derby. It's going to be fantastic. I think it also ends up being a bit of a de facto Victoria versus New South Wales game as well. So I think it makes for a really exciting one.
Yeah, we always know how big Melbourne Sydney is in regards to the rivalry. But yeah, South Melbourne, obviously, they hold themselves as a massive club in Australia. They want to take things seriously. Obviously, we saw what they've achieved with the OFC. They're going to be a part of that competition. But in this competition, they've wanted this for a very long time, and now they get to open it.
Does it mean you're a little bit the hunted as well throughout this competition? You know, when you got such high expectations, it also means you got a lot to lose, and it's a lot of pressure too.
Do you agree with that, Antonis?
Yeah, and I think they welcome that as well, Simon. I think, and they haven't been waiting for the championship competition. They want to be in the A-League. So they've got very high standards for themselves. So you've wanted it. It's here now. Show everyone why you deserve to be in this situation, why you deserve to be even higher. And, of course, the other interesting thing about this game is both teams had slightly disappointing regular seasons, missed out on finals. So it's a good way in Greek. We've got a saying to start methodexy with your right foot, to start off on the right way. So both Greek clubs want to do that in this little dive against each other. And I think it's a great way to open up the competition, because we know that things are going to get feisty a bit later on, especially with a few of these ethnic rivalries. This is more of a friendship, but also now that it's a big stage. So it's going to be a very nice atmosphere. South Melbourne are doing a lot of great stuff, making it a big event that you want to be at. So really excited for that to be underway. And I'm really excited to actually get there on Friday night. We wanted to get to Lakeside for a couple of seasons. This is a perfect time to head down.
So you'll be heading down watching it?
I think I'm going to be shooting it as well. So I'm very excited.
Nice. You mean photography?
Yes.
Yeah, good. All right, luckily. Security almost went up a bit. But Lakeside as well, it's going to hold the second biggest game in a matter of a week, and they just held the Australian Cup there final, which was huge. Heidelberg, another team that's in this competition as well. But that game was massive for local football as well, with Heidelberg taking the league early. But now this stadium, I think it's up there. Like, this is what I love about this competition. We get to see not only clubs, but see the stadiums that are quality stadiums that I think that should be hosting big games.
And it's one of those things that you can argue about the quality of the watching experience. Somewhere like Lakeside that's got the racing track around. We've got our own local example here that we know how a few of us felt about the athletics ground. But the thing with that is a club like South Melbourne was basically relegated from the national spotlight to obscurity basically for all these years. But instead of just letting that dampen their spirits, their souls, they've built it into their own thing. And we're at the point that we've got 8 clubs that have guaranteed themselves a spot in that competition, and that shows how well they've taken that news the past couple of decades. So this is their home. They built that to be their home. It's more than just the 90 minutes of football. These are the lives of these people that they've dedicated themselves to rebuilding their clubs, their heritage. So that's why we're excited, because it's much more than the 90 minutes. This is history, not just of Australian football, but our country as well. So I'm really excited for that. It's just another wrinkle in our football landscape here in Australia, and completely different from the A-League.
Yep, I think so. And that game's going to be on Viceland, which is exciting because it's the secondary channel for SBS. SBS got the coverage and rights for all the games. Obviously, they'll all be on demand. However, on Saturdays, which is the most exciting part of it, every Saturday throughout this competition, there's going to be a Super Saturday, 2 games played back to back. And I think as a whole, for this game, for our game in the country as well, to have this exposure back at the home of football, which everyone loves. We all, I think, grew up with it. I don't know about you, Antas, you were born in Greece, but so you're probably more excited about the Greek derby on Friday night than you are about SBS returning. But I think it's exciting because that's where it all started for me. I remember watching Les Murray back in the day, and that's where I got my fix of football before I had subscription TV with Foxtel back in the day. So for me, that was it. And now to see the game back there, we had the A-League on for a little bit, but now we've got this secondary competition that is going to be fully in on SBS. These Super Saturdays are exciting.
For me, SBS has always been the home of football. I remember Sundays were always the big day. You had hours worth of football action. You had the Serie A recap before as well. So to have a home where you know it's going to be there every single Saturday, that's something that's really exciting for me. So I can't wait.
I think the commitment from SBS to do that and make it a thing as well. So back to back, it's 2 games on the main channel every Saturday up until the final, which would only be a standalone. But I think that's amazing to do that and to really give it that focus. I think when A-League kicks off, obviously there'll be more games in the afternoon afterwards. So these would be done by 4:30, 5 o'clock. And they're games that they usually showed like they did last year. I don't know what the schedule is this year. I haven't checked it all yet, but they'll probably be the same a nighttime game. So it won't be any clashing with that. So anyone that's staying home Saturdays can watch football.
And also this little pocket that we've got here as well. AFL has just finished. NRL has just finished. Cricket hasn't started yet. So maybe if you can get a couple games in and get a little bit of investment, then you might be able to carry that audience through the season as well.
Yeah. And SBS actually may not have grown up with it like you guys, but I remember 2014, that was in year 12. Optus had taken the rights, didn't quite go to plan, and they swooped in and they were the saviors. But, like you said, it's the home of football, and you only need to see the history. Yeah. This is where people like from our backgrounds went to check their news from their language, from their country, and naturally their football, their sport was there too. Yep. So it just makes sense, and it's great to have SBS on board. And like I was saying off air, anyone that shows football for free is a hero. So we welcome that. The other thing about this is it's finally great to see football communicating with itself. So often we compete with ourselves. Here, A-League and APL and Football Australia have worked together to make sure that their work goes in sync, that one leads into the other instead of competing with each other. So it's great to be able to have these Super Saturdays that if you're a true football nut like us, you can sit down, you can watch a day of, and who knows, there might be kids like we were kids and got into something that they get into something as well, be it from the Australian Championship or the A-League, because it's readily available and publicly available. Only thing is with the weather heating up, it might throw us off, especially towards the end of those Super Saturdays, because if you have games played at 36, 37, 38 degrees at 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m., it might make things a little bit difficult. But it's a great concept, and I hope it works all the way through, but it's something we might have to be a bit flexible about.
The A-League players do it in January and February.
Do they?
Well, we get some...
because it gets delayed to
there's some rescheduling.
So, of course, you can delay it, but then the Super Saturday concept may just need to be tweaked.
Okay, we're saying the 2:30 kickoff, depending on which state you're in, will be the one that would probably be pushed back a little bit due to the heat, because sometimes it gets hot. the hottest point of the day is around that kickoff time. But in saying that, though, when you look at the weather in A-League, that is the one concern you'll probably have, is that one game might be earlier on, the other one might be pushed back a little bit later. However, I don't think it's going to impact it that much because the heat really starts impacting the A-League in late December, January, February, March. But you do have those odd days, so we have to deal with it when it happens. But we can't let just the maybe factor of
fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's only one day a week that we need the gods to look our way.
I wonder if your South Hobarts, how they might be feeling if they have to travel north during November. They might be struggling a little bit.
Well, I checked out the average heat, the average temperatures around November, and it reaches a max or like roughly 28 degrees, depending on where you are. For a while there, I thought it was 26, but I was checking in the western suburbs of Adelaide, so I realised there's not everywhere is the same temperature as west suburbs of Adelaide, but the average is about 28. You do have the odd occasion where it does
The
hit.
centre of the universe, they call it.
It is. It is.
I don't know where I've heard that saying, but I thought they were talking about areas like this.
But yeah, you never know when that happens. But it's something we do have to think about. But happens when it happens. That's when you need to worry about it. But otherwise, I think it's all positive about that. There's 2 games right in the center of the day, and then you go have dinner, you go back and watch the A-League. Perfect. And if you got Paramount, you can watch all of them. But that's fantastic. I think it's a great initiative from them. But I think the interesting thing about this is those interstate games now. But Simon, you want to talk about the away days?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to have proper away days now when you're going to get teams that have to travel interstate. And just looking at some of them, like for this weekend, you got Northwestern Sydney Spirit travelling to Preston Lions.
Yep.
How huge is that going to be? Marconi playing away at Heidelberg. Like, imagine the sensification. You spoke before about Lakeside. Viewing experience aside, I think when you look at the fixture and you start to pick out, all right, my team's going to be playing here on this date, that's the date I'm going to go and check out. So when you got those really special stadium experiences, I think that adds to the atmosphere and the sense of occasion, and maybe even pulling the trigger and deciding to jump on a flight and check out your favourite team elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those that some of these clubs may have not experienced that atmosphere and the fans, like maybe somewhere like here, South Australia, or somewhere like in WA or Tasmania, we might not have the same fan culture because of the history and the amount of people we have in our states, like New South Wales and Victoria. So for these players and these opposing fans to go and experience their club up against that could be quite special. And again, stuff like Preston, we've seen what they can do with the crowds and the sheer size. So it's very exciting for some of these clubs to be involved in that. And again, it's not a one and done that, oh, you're knocked out, you lose the first game, you're out. The whole group stage, you have to play through it. So it's a weekly thing. So it's a new reality for a lot of these clubs. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And I'm looking forward to it as well because, well, we're based in South Australia, but I've been looking like when Metro do go interstate, I want to go over and check a game out. Don't know which one I'm going to go to just yet, or if I do. However, I'm going to be in Victoria for the last round of the season. I will be back in Adelaide in time for that last game. I think it's against Sydney United and Metro. But while I'm over there, first thing I did, I was looked up who's going to be playing in Victoria at that stage, and Avondale's going to be there. So I'm like, I'm going to make the most of it and go see Avondale because you never know in finals they could be playing back here in Adelaide. It's going to be exciting against Preston. I think it is, and I think that's the cool thing about this competition as well. But the one thing that disappoints me is one weekend. I think it's end of October, and I'm passing through Victoria again for a road trip into a little town outside of Melbourne. And there's not one game in Victoria that whole weekend.
How does that happen?
I don't know.
The competition's Victorian.
That's a weird anomaly. Yeah,
I was like, surely it'll be at least one game. No, they're all playing away that weekend. So what are the chances? So 2 times I'm going to be in Victoria in a matter of a fortnight, and I only can see one game. There's only one game in Victoria in those 2 fortnights.
Wow,
those 2 weekends.
What happened with the scheduling?
I know.
That's a strange one.
They must have known Johnny was going over. Like, we don't have enough food. In terms, I think obviously Metro Stars, they're coming into this game. Danny Greystone signed a 2-year contract. So we'll look forward to seeing how they go with them. But the other clubs have their own coaching issues and things going on as well.
Mm-hmm. I will start with South Melbourne, who started the season, the NPL season, quite rough. And Esteban Quintas and South Melbourne parted ways. But Sinisa Kodzic took over the job. Used to be the technical director, so they're a lot more stable now than they were at the beginning of the season, but a coaching change didn't expect nonetheless. A couple of other changes. Avondale, Zoran Markovsky, who's won a NPL with them, left. Jonathan Germano has replaced him. Again, not as experienced a coach as Markovski, but he has brought a connection with Bruno Fornaroli, a star that's going to be for Avondale in this division. And NWS Spirit, David Perkovic, fantastic job he did. Underdogs to win the league. He has left. His assistant, Luca Falcone, has taken over. Only announced Tuesday this week. So looking forward to seeing how they're going. And one more thing about the coaching. Sydney United's Ante Juric. Now, we know how good of a coach he is. He has won things with Sydney United. He's won the NPL there. But he's also coaching Sydney FC's women's team. And there's a couple of dates that clash between Sydney United and Sydney FC women. So very interested to see what happens in those days, where he goes. We see the precedent that's been set when they played each other in the Australia Cup, Sydney United, Sydney FC. Sydney FC asked him to sit out. He sat out. It's going to be very interesting to see when these clash and the reaction from both sides. Because, again, you might expect it to go one way, but fans may have feelings about what happens there.
Makes sense, but I also do see the side of the A-League sides do take in favour because of the level. But in this case, as a local fan, you definitely would want your coach there. But it'll be interesting to see how it is tackled. And considering it's not, well, I don't know, actually. It's being on the same day, we'd have to choose one or the other. So, but he'll be there all week. So I'd assume it will just be a case of passing on the information to, depending on if it's the A-League women or if it's the local team. So, but,
yeah, I mean, it's something that they're going to have to figure out going forward anyway. This might be something that you have to tackle. Like we said at the top, it works best when you got the A-League and the Australian Championship working together. So got to figure out those synergies.
Well, and lastly as well, got to figure out not just the synergies, but also the food at the grounds. And I think that's the most tasty thing about this whole tournament is, for me, I love my food. I love the ethnic and cultural side of these clubs as well. And every single game is going to have something unique to it. And I think that's what is going to be the best thing about it. You got A-League games. You got there's that culture. It's different, and you go to these stadiums that are run independently by different organisations. But here they're run by the heartbeat of these clubs. These communities, they're built upon these Greek, Italian cultures, Macedonian, all these Croatian. It's fantastic, and I just can't wait to go and try these shababs. And that's why I think I want these away games to happen more, because imagine going over there. I can't wait to go to Avondale, check out the food down there. Everyone give me tips because I want to know what I should try while I'm down there at Avenger Park. But it's just, it's one for the taste buds, isn't it? Tantalising.
Maybe we need to do a bit of a side championship as well and just compile the food.
Yep.
But I think you showed me a pretty tasty looking cevapcici from Broadmeadow Magic. That looked pretty good. Sydney United, I think that's an interesting prospect. I think if you're talking Sydney, the further out west you go, the food seems like it gets better and better.
Well, and Tony, I missed out on going with you to the Marconi Club when we were there for the Women's World Cup, but that looked amazing down there, the pizzas at the actual Marconi Club.
Yeah, I think
pre-game.
These clubs do it well. And Preston as well. You keep going, the food just keeps getting better and better. But again, I'm sure we'll hear a lot about it as the weeks go on. Because again, a lot of these fans were going to places for the first time because it's a different time of the year. It becomes available. So really looking forward to seeing people's reactions to it, because no longer are you getting the good old hot dog from Hindmarsh Stadium or the chicken strips from Amy Park. This is a real person, someone's grandma, someone's uncle cooking real food.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm just pointing it to my page Friday night, South Melbourne and Sydney Olympic. South Melbourne are going to want to bring that A game because they are not going to want to hear it from their neighbours if they don't get the food right.
Well, if they don't on the away trip, they're going to be showing. It's going to be a battle of food as well, because you're going to be able to see both sides of it.
It's all part of pride, though, isn't it?
It is. Well, with Metro Stars, we know what their past is like. Unfortunately, the A-League clubs didn't stay for pasta afterwards.
Their loss.
Yes, but the clubs that are coming here to Adelaide, your Sydney Uniteds, your Appia and all that, and they're going to be, and Bayswater, they're going to be coming here trying to pass and go, we need to go one better when we get back home. Actually, Metro have the upper hand on all the clubs except for Appia, because they're going to be playing at all the venues away first before they come back home.
And just a note on this, Johnny, because neither side that didn't stay for pasta, Metro Stars, won the Australia Cup that year. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, there you go. So don't stay for pasta is what you're saying, you'll win the Australian Championship?
No, stay for pasta.
Just not if you're a Metro fan.
Did Didn't you just say if they didn't say they won it?
No, they didn't.
They didn't win it.
Yes.
So the opposite.
Oh yeah, they didn't
it's
win
a
it.
bad
Yeah,
omen.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To the opposite. Yeah, stay for faster. You might win the Australian.
You're ruining my propaganda, Johnny.
My nonna always said, you're a growing boy. You got to fuel yourself. Have your pasta.
Well, I need my pasta because I missed that. It went straight over my head. No, it's great to talk about, and it all kicks off Friday night. So very much excited for the Australian Championship to kick off, and this Oz Chance podcast by the local game. And this is great. I've actually enjoyed just chatting football for 20 minutes, and we've got to do this for next 9-10 weeks.
Absolutely. We're going to have no trouble filling 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've talked for 21 minutes on the dot without actually talking about a ball that's been kicked yet.
Yes.
So once that happens, I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about.
And I think one thing that's exciting about this round one as well is that it's almost the unknown. A lot of these clubs finished their league a few weeks ago. Only one that's probably the only one that's actually played the most competitive match in the last few weeks is Heidelberg on Saturday night. So we've seen what Heidelberg can do against an A-League club, so we kind of know where they're at. The others had a few changes in the off-season with coaches and with players as well. So it will be quite interesting to see round one take off, and we'll roughly know where clubs are at. So that's that, I reckon. Episode 1.
Happy.
Done?
Done. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. That's the Oz Chance podcast. Myself, Johnny Keko, and Toast Pagonis, and Simon Jimenez. Good luck this weekend, boys. I think we're all in Adelaide, so we're all going to Metro Stars on Saturday. And Tonus, you're going Friday. Can't wait to hear about that. Make sure you try to the Euros. What they call it over there? They don't call it Euros, do they?
Yeah, well, of course we do.
So,
Here we call it Euros.
When I say over there, I mean in Greece.
Oh no. In Melbourne, what they call it? Kebab. No, one of them calls them kebab.
Don't.
Or suvla. No, I don't know what they call
You're
it.
getting very political in Greece because Slovakia and the Euros are two
I do
different
know
things,
that,
but-
yeah, but
yeah, that's for another podcast.
all right, another podcast, another day. Oz Chance podcast is what we're talking about right now. That's all from us. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you subscribe on Spotify and also on YouTube, Keko Media on YouTube, and you can watch the Oz Chance podcast by the local game. Boys, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
thank you, Johnny.
That's all from us. And big shout out to Macron Sports Hub Adelaide. Get in touch with them today for your gear for next season, and we'll catch you next week.